This video is sponsored by Kaspersky Privacy Checker. A 32-year-old woman arrived at her doctor's office to address a recent uptick in anxiety, distress, and trouble sleeping. She told her physician that she had been hearing a series of songs playing in her head in a near constant loop for all waking hours. The songs were so entrenched in her brain that she was unable to read a book or even participate in conversation without getting lost in thought. It can be a jarring and annoying experience to have a song stuck in your head. Usually, we can just wait it out, like when water gets stuck in your ear. But what do you do when the chorus to your favorite song loops in your head for months at a time?
Watermelon sugar high. Watermelon sugar high.
Hey, chill.
Watermelon sugar high.
You alright?
Yeah, but I got this song stuck in my head.
Well, at least it's a good song.
Good or bad, I still wish it wasn't in my head.
That's something you got in common with our case today. As I was saying a moment ago, a 32-year-old woman came to her doctor because songs kept playing on repeat inside her head. It got so bad that she could barely focus on the people around her. She came to the doctor because her apparent lack of attention was having a negative impact on her personal relationships and her academic performance as a psych student in university. She was fully aware that the music was coming from inside her head. However, the songs were not triggered by sounds in her environment. The songs themselves were ones she was familiar with, and they were true to the original form and melody.
Oh, what songs got stuck in her head?
Songs she liked, songs she didn't like, commercial jingles, fragments of instrumental songs, and even purely vocal pieces. The first time she experienced this phenomenon was 12 years prior to her doctor's appointment. Her episodes were temporary, usually going on for a week or so, and reoccurring on a monthly basis. Symptoms weren't so bad initially, but gradually, over the course of 6 years, they grew in severity and became associated with compulsive behaviors.
Compulsive behaviors? Like what, bro?
She tried listening to different songs with headphones at max volume to shake loose the earworm. But the cacophony that resulted from the songs in her head and the songs through the headphones gave her intense anxiety. However, if she played the same song in her headphones that was playing in her head at full volume, she achieved some short-term relief. The end of the case file notes that her inability to control her brain's musical obsessions were connected to obsessive-compulsive disorder. But even those of us without OCD can get songs stuck in our heads. So, what's behind this manic musical malfeasance?
It's an earworm, defined as a section of a musical composition around 20 seconds long that repeats over and over in our heads against our will. Earworms can last anywhere from hours to months. The term itself comes from a German word, der Ohrwurm, which means musical itch. It was coined by psychiatrist Cornelius Eckert in 1979. It's a way that our brains search for meaning. They usually show up when our brains are looking for distraction, when they're idle, or sometimes when they're just overwhelmed. One is also more susceptible to earworms when they're tired, stressed, or have neuroses, according to James Calaris, a University of Cincinnati professor.
The most common earworms have notes that are held for long durations and with smaller pitch intervals. But this mostly indicates which songs are easier to sing than others. For example, I'd argue very few people get Schoenberg stuck in their heads. But Harry Styles, on the other hand,
Tastes like strawberries on a summer evening. And it sounds just like a song.
buddy?
Oh, sorry.
If a song is easy to sing, has an element of predictability, and has some kind of novel idea to make you remember it, it's a candidate to become a notorious earworm. These three things are also what makes a pop song go viral. A song that you heard recently is also more likely to become an earworm. A study conducted between 2010 to 2013, examining earworms, calling them involuntary musical images, found that participants who were exposed to a previously unfamiliar song 6 times were more likely to experience that song as an INMI than participants who had only heard the song twice. The same study notes that it's uncommon for someone to experience an entirely fabricated song that your brain made up all on its own. That being said, a few self-composed songs have been recorded in previous studies. They used 58 different songs in the study, but the most commonly mentioned earworms were Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, Can't Get You Out of My Head by Kylie Minogue, Don't Stop Believing by Journey, Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier, Moves Like Jagger by Maroon 5, California Girls by Katy Perry, Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, Alejandro by Lady Gaga, and Poker Face by Lady Gaga. But, like I said earlier, this study was from 2010 to 2013, so a few more possible earworm songs have come out since then. Let me know in the comments what songs get stuck in your head. You do need to be careful about what information you put out onto the internet though, even with favorite songs. If it's connected to something like your personal security questions, it could prove to be a major security risk for your online privacy. I'm excited about today's sponsor, Kaspersky Privacy Checker, which gives me the brass tacks of how secure my online presence can be. As a creator, virtual or otherwise, I have to be especially careful about what information I give out on the internet. One misstep could reveal my personal information to millions of people, like old baby pictures of me.
It's even harder when all of the privacy settings for each social media platform are hidden or specifically confusing. If I want to lock down my TikTok, Kaspersky Privacy Checker walks me through how to disable the features I don't want.
It's also great that Kaspersky Privacy Checker is totally free, and is an easy way to learn what you can do to keep your information safe. Just pick your platform, hardware, and the level of security you want, and Kaspersky Privacy Checker will give you all the tools you need to secure your social media. Check out the link in the description and get the tools to keep your private information private. Now, if we get back to our story with the never-ending earworm.
But bro, how does it work? Like, I love songs that are easy to sing and I get that they're catchier, but why does my brain get stuck on stuff?
Our brains use patterns to help us understand, process, and recall information. Before smartphones, or even books for that matter, humans had to rely on verbal communication and memory to retain and pass on information. According to cognitive scientist David Rubin, humans developed methods to expedite and simplify that process. Things like rhythm, rhyme, repetition, and alliteration. You know, classic literary devices. For example, Homer's Odyssey and the Iliad were originally folktales passed from generation to generation verbally. Since they had to be memorized, Homer and other poets used epithets, short descriptive phrases before specific characters and things, as mnemonic devices to help them remember the words, as shortcuts to get a line to fit into their metrical form, and to let their audience know that their favorite character was about to show up. Now, 3,000 years later, we're still using those same methods to write pop songs and post moody poetry on Reddit.
Okay, so music contains culturally significant patterns. Who knew? But I still don't understand the mechanics behind how one of those patterns gets stuck.
It all comes down to the science of memory. Yay, science. More specifically, how our working memory functions. Working memory can be broken down into four main parts: the phonological loop, which collects acoustic and verbal information; the visuospatial sketchpad, which collects spatial and visual information; the episodic buffer, which integrates info from the previous two; and the central executive, which controls all three. The part that we're concerned with today is the phonological loop. There are two parts to this verbal system: the phonological store, which holds information as a sound image, which decays quickly, and a rehearsal mechanism, used to keep information from the phonological store fresh over long periods of time. These two systems together form the titular loop. An earworm is when a song gets stuck in the phonological loop. Sometimes when auditory information is held in the phonological store, the rehearsal mechanism takes that information and repeats it over and over and over again. Your brain is trying to keep that information fresh so you can use it, but the problem is you don't need your brain to work so hard to remember it.
Brains. Always working hard, even when we really don't want them to.
But bro, you never did say that the woman from the beginning got rid of her earworms. Did she get rid of her earworms?
Well, her case notes that her involuntary musical imagery was rooted in her comorbid mental illnesses, which included OCD, so treatment for her included pharmacological and psychotherapeutic techniques. Earworms, for the majority of us, are benign, and they'll go away eventually. But if you want some tricks to get rid of one, don't try to block it out. If I told you, don't think of a pink elephant, odds are you're gonna think of one. And why wouldn't you? That's amazing. Trying to brute force an earworm out of your system by ignoring it usually just gets it stuck in deeper. Instead, you can listen to a different catchy song to replace the song you hate. Or, since earworms are generally partial bits of a song, you can listen to the entire song to satisfy your brain's need for repetition. Funny enough, you can also try to chew gum to get rid of a nasty earworm. The sound of your jaw chewing is sometimes enough to counteract the rhythm of the song inside your head. Sometimes easy solutions aren't enough. If you, like the woman from our case earlier, find earworms interfering with your life and you can't seem to get rid of them no matter what you try, therapy might be the best option. At the end of the day, earworms are a natural symptom of our living, thinking brains, and they're a side effect of tens of thousands of years of evolution, both biological and cultural. Watermelon sugar. Hello, dear viewers! If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I'm also always looking for new ideas, so leave me a comment below if you have any particularly good ones. Watermelon sugar high.